Hi there, and welcome to the summer edition of Dome at Home for Thursday, July 21st, 2022. I'm your host, planetarium astronomer Scott Young, broadcasting from here in Treaty 1 territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Tonight's show was recorded this afternoon so that I could still bring you the latest news while still being technically on vacation. Let's start with a few planetarium-related events. You can help the planetarium, the Science Gallery, and the Manitoba Museum plan for the future by filling out our short survey at manitobamuseumtomorrow.com. We're gathering information from Manitobans on what they'd like to see us grow into in the future, and you can have your say. Please fill out the survey, make sure that your astronomy enthusiast voice is heard by the museum board, and plus you'll be entered for a chance to win one of 3 staycations here in Manitoba, hotel stays, and all sorts of cool things like that. So manitobamuseumtomorrow.ca, fill in your information and help the planetarium be a big part of the future Manitoba Museum. We also have another First Friday event coming up on the Friday, August the 5th from 5 to 9 p.m. It's part of the First Friday events in the Exchange, where all sorts of places are open, art studios and things like that, and there's pop-up shops and things in the Exchange. Wonderful set of events. The museum, the planetarium, and the Science Gallery will be open and free from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. The special dinosaur exhibit will be open but will still require admission, so it's just the 3 core venues that are free. I'll be doing live sky shows from 5 to 9, and you'll also have the chance to see a great short piece called Journey to the Milky Way, which looks at the center of our Milky Way galaxy, some of the latest observations of that, and the black hole at the center of the galaxy. Now, let's move to
Cool space stuff!
No, I didn't think anything could get me more excited than those first pictures from the James Webb Space Telescope, but the hits just keep on coming. JWST imaged the spiral galaxy Messier 74, M74, and this is the detail. Now, I've seen this galaxy in my telescope. It's a tiny little smudge. Even Hubble gave a fairly good view, but this detail is incredible, penetrating right to the very center of the galaxy there. Lots of detail in the spiral arms, lots of star-forming regions, the equivalent of our Orion Nebula, for example. Just a beautiful, beautiful image. And, as if that wasn't enough, back to the moon. The NASA yesterday, on the 53rd anniversary of the first human moon landing, announced when the next rocket to the moon was leaving. Artemis 1 launches on Monday, August the 29th at 7:33 a.m. Central Daylight Time. That's the time here in Manitoba. You can do the adjustments for your own time zone. We will be covering the launch live. Now, Artemis 1 is a no-crew launch. There are 3 crash test dummies on board, not the awesome Winnipeg band that's touring around right now, but these crash test dummies are along for the ride to basically measure the acceleration, the radiation environment, all of the things that human crew would experience, and bring that data back. Artemis 1 is about a 40-day mission, so they're really putting this thing through marathon paces, and it will basically test everything about the mission, from the launch to the time of re-entry, testing out the new type of heat shield and so on. So the rocket will take off, travel to the moon. The Orion spacecraft will be detached. It will go into orbit around the moon, remain there for a number of days, come back, entering the atmosphere as fast as any spacecraft ever has, and test the heat shield and the parachutes and the whole deal. So it's going to be a pretty exciting time. And if the launch does not go on that day, there are a couple of other windows that we can get to. We have a backup on Friday, September the 2nd, and we have a second backup on Monday, September the 5th. There are actually windows stretching into September as well, and then if they can't get off the ground, then there's another series of days in October, and pretty much every month this calendar year and into next. So there's lots of opportunities. This is the first flight of a very complicated spacecraft. It's entirely possible that the launch will slip. It's already sort of been slipping. We thought it might go in June. We thought it might go in July. Well, now we're looking at the end of August into September. It still might slip. Regardless, though, exciting stuff, because of course, once Artemis 1 goes with its crash test dummy crew, Artemis 2 will be on deck, and that will contain 3 American and 1 Canadian astronaut who will go all the way around the moon, not landing. The landing is not planned for another couple of years, but getting to the moon and back, that's going to be a really exciting mission. So we're looking forward to seeing details on that. They roll out from the large vehicle assembly building all the way to the launch pad on August the 18th. That's their plan. So if they roll out there, then things are looking good for an August 29th launch. There could still be, glitches or things that have to be fixed, but that's sort of the plan. So we'll be watching carefully, and we will be bringing that to you live, although frankly, everyone on the internet will also be streaming that launch, because it will be one of the most anticipated launches of the 21st century so far. Interestingly, the very same month, sometime in August, SpaceX is slated to test launch their Starship spacecraft. This is the big silver rocket that you've probably seen videos of exploding many, many times online. That's sort of how they tested them. They basically tested them to destruction. They're on about number 20 of their rockets right now. But the idea is that will eventually be the spacecraft that will land people from the Artemis mission on the moon. So they actually are developing their own rocket for it. So it's kind of duplication of effort in some way, but it'll be interesting to see. SpaceX likes to upstage people as much as possible, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them, do their test launch right around the same time that Artemis is scheduled to launch as well. Okay, let's take a look at what's up in the sky right now. All right, our summer sky still dominated by the Milky Way. If you're away from city lights and moonlight, it basically rises up out of the southern horizon down here through Sagittarius, the teapot, looking like steam coming out of the teapot, and arcs almost straight overhead up into our familiar by now summer triangle constellation, or asterism technically. Each of these bright stars in the summer triangle is part of a different constellation. We've got Deneb over here in Cygnus the Swan. We've got the star Vega in the little constellation of Lyra the Harp. And then down here we have Altair, flanked by a fainter star on either side in Aquila the Eagle. So summer triangle and the Milky Way, definitely something to look for as the moon is relatively out of the sky, at least in the early evening right now. We're just past last quarter moon, and so that means that the moon isn't rising until quite late. But something is rising already. By 11 o'clock, which is what I'm showing here, Saturn is already up above the horizon. It's finally getting up there. Now, I did get an image of Saturn a few nights back. I got up about 2 in the morning so that it was exactly in that position in the trees, so that I can actually see it, because I don't have a great view to the low parts of the southern sky from my yard. Saturn is already rising, and I was out last night and managed to see Saturn and also Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. I caught all of them. It turns out that if I stand in a certain spot in my yard, I can actually see between my neighbor's house and the next neighbor over from them, their garage. There's this tiny little window, and if I go at exactly the right time, that's exactly where Venus was rising. So it was really a nice discovery at 4:30 in the morning this morning, and that's when you're starting to get those planetary views. So here's basically the view this morning. We had Saturn, we had Jupiter, which is just brilliant. It is really, really bright. We had the last quarter moon almost right next to Mars. Mars is getting brighter, starting to begin, well, it's starting to come closer to us, and over the next 6 months or so, we'll get a better view of it. And then, like I say, right about just after 4, Venus starts to come up pretty far in the northeast. It's probably why I can see it in that spot. I never noticed it before, because there's probably about a 10-minute window where it would be visible between the two garages and the tree limb that's over top. But I just happened to be out there at the right time. So I hope you get a chance to get out and see the morning planets. As the sky goes on, of course, the moon moves from night to night. Here's the moon tomorrow morning, if you want to stay up late tonight or get up early tomorrow. And as the moon shrinks down into a nice crescent, we have a nice crescent moon on the morning of the 23rd, right between the Pleiades star cluster and the Hyades star cluster, which is that V-shaped part of Taurus, the bull. One of those things that tells you winter is coming for sure. When you've got Taurus coming up, and here we have Auriga, those are winter constellations. And just below the horizon down here, this is the bow of Orion the Hunter. And here's Gemini the Twin starting to come up. So all those things we were talking about 6 months ago are rising up in the morning sky. By the time you get to 5 in the morning, though, the sky is pretty bright. Most of the stars are gone, but you'll still see those bright planets. Saturn will probably fade away fairly early. Jupiter, for sure, you see almost right till sunrise. And the same with Venus. They're just so bright. Mars will disappear a little bit earlier, but its red color actually makes it seems that it sticks around fairly long into the twilight. So lots of planets to look for. And of course, as the rest of the week goes on, that moon will shrink down into a smaller crescent. On the morning of the 26th, we will have it as a very thin crescent just above Venus. That'll be a challenging observation, but if you got binoculars, you'll have a good chance to maybe see it, because you should be able to fit the two of them into the same binocular field of view. And just barely they'll fit, but that'll be a nice way to spot those. And then there's a few stars from Gemini in there as well. So those are our planets that are coming up for the week, and those are sort of the main events. We're moving into that dark time of the moon, when it's a great time to get out of the city, to get to a nice dark location if you can, and just take a look at what you can see without that extra light of the moon in the sky. It's going to be a great time to do it. You can keep your eyes open for the occasional meteor. There's lots of satellites that are visible. The International Space Station is going over a whole bunch right now, at least for us here in Manitoba. You can always visit the Manitoba Museum's website, go click over to the planetarium section, and then click on current night sky, and there's information on what's up, links on how to get predictions for the space station and northern lights and all that kind of stuff for your location. So do get a chance to get out and take a look at the sky. We'd love to see any pictures you get or any stories that you have of your observations. I always love seeing what people are doing out there. It inspires me to get out and actually take a look at things in the sky as well. So that is a great thing to take a look at. And yeah, that's pretty much for our sky update. Let's switch gears here for a minute and head back to the daytime sky. The sun. The sun is very active right now. Lots of things going on. Now, I have to remind you, of course, you cannot look at the sun directly unless you have special filters. With your unaided eyes, sunglasses are not enough. You need to have basically eclipse glasses. And with a telescope or binoculars, you need to have special solar filters that fit over the front of your telescope's lens or your binocular lenses. You can get those through telescope dealers for, they're probably going to cost you at least $100, if not more. So if you don't have that, observe the sun on the internet. Spaceweather.com has all sorts of great images that you can see. This is an image I took this morning with my little 80mm telescope. Lots and lots of sunspots. And what was kind of cool, I missed it, but yesterday, this region right here, there's a few small sunspots. Let's see if we can zoom in here. Yeah, this region right here, there was a huge solar flare in this region about 12 hours before I took this picture. And that material has spewed off directly towards the Earth and is basically heading straight for us. So on the night of the 23rd, the morning of the 23rd, pardon me, and maybe into the night of the 23rd, so that'd be Saturday morning basically, or Saturday night, we might have northern lights, because that stuff from the sun, when it interacts with our atmosphere, can trigger geomagnetic storms that can give us those conditions for northern lights. So keep your eyes open for that. And again, you can find links to all this stuff on our website to keep up with the various things that are going on. It's a big universe. There's a lot of stuff happening all the time, and it's pretty hard to keep up with everything. So if you come across something that you think is cool or you want to share with our viewers, definitely drop me a line. We love getting mail. We love getting all the images and stories and stuff like that, as well as, you know, cool articles or other stuff you come across, ideas for the show. We're always happy to hear from you. So you can reach out to us on social media, via email, and you can also go to the Manitoba Museum's webpage, sign up for our e-newsletter. There's a link down at the bottom to sign up for e-news, and that'll give you sort of the alerts of all the stuff that's going on at the museum. That brings our summer version of the show to an end for this week. Next week, we'll be back with a live show, and we will be taking a look at sort of the preview for August, all the things that are coming up in August, and I hope to have a few more images from James Webb as well as perhaps updates on the Artemis moon mission. So, enjoy some clear skies. I hope you get out and take a look at all these things. And enjoy your time under the stars until we see you next week here on Dome at Home. Thanks everybody for coming, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.